Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Ragavadosh, Thuana, Yahweh, Barakatha, Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Barakatha, Yahweh, for upon every time. Call on Yahweh, Vashem Yahushai, Shlaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Call on Yahweh, Vashem Yahushai, Water Yahweh, for your love all the time. Water Yahweh, for the Akim you supply. Rakatha Yahweh, for apostles all the time. Call on Yahweh, Vashem Yahushai. Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Obadiah Hawkanan. Straighten up the camera here a little bit. There we go. And shalom, Shabbat. I know that many are out and about getting ready to head out and do what they got to do for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which is so very important and of utmost importance at this particular time that we're in. And, y'all put something on my spirit, man. You know how it is. We don't sleep well when Yahweh Shem Yahushai is tugging on our spirit to get a message out to the brethren, and to, Yakim and Akwaf, and it's just that way, it's absolutely that way. And right now, I got a pretty important lesson that I believe the Most High wants me to bring out, and he's weighing on my spirit real heavy last night about the lesson. Now, the lesson is it's a high value nutrient food that will be obviously it's not very much spoken about by many of my brethren, but at the same time, it kind of is. It's kind of a combination of how it gets down. But I'm gonna try to get into it and I just Barakatah Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that he gives me the strength and the wisdom and the resiliency to be able to get through the lesson and bring home what's necessary. We want to definitely get salutations out to all of the elect, the Akim, who are doing the work on highways, byways, and on the unicorn of information. Also want to give salutations to the Yakwaf who are listening and learning in silence and growing as the nature of the Most High presents their growth to them, as well as others. We want to give salutations to the scattered elect that are around the face of the whole earth and that are already predestined, as everything is, by the Most High to for things to come to fruition, which they are, and we can clearly see that happening. So I wanted to get that out. Getting good sleep is sometimes a thing, especially during this end time, this trying end time period. Getting good sleep is a rare commodity. Let me put it to you that way: a spiritually good, rare commodity. The title of the lesson today right? Is they seeketh for a sign, right? No sign will be given except for the sign of the Jonah, the prophet, right? The prophet Jonah. That's what's the sign going to be given today. And I'm going to talk a little bit about it, and also, how things are being mapped out. When we think about the sign of Jonah, the normal, what we could say, the mainstream interpretation comes in maybe a couple of different formats. Some of it talks in reference to it first and foremost. Most of it talks about the 3 days and 3 nights that Jonah spent in the belly of the fish that was fashioned just for him by Yahweh. Okay, and that speaks to the death, burial, and resurrection of Yahushua, right? I mean, we hear that one all the time, and we know that is definitely one of the facets and the factors of speaking in terms of this particular lesson. But that's not where Yahweh Shem Yahushua took this time to present this lesson. There's also the factor of obedience and disobedience in reference to what seems to be portrayed in Jonah in terms of the book of Jonah and what has happened, right? And let's just get this straight and lay it down on the line, what's going on. Ezekiel chapter 34 and 31. Well, you know me, I'm always going to pop up a verse above, if not below, on that verse, but I'm going to definitely give out with this one. 31st, Ezekiel chapter 34, 30. And it says, thus shall they know that I, Yahweh, their God, their power, am with them. Who's the them? Obviously, it's the nation of Israel and only, right? With them. And that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, saith Yahweh power. Okay? And then 31. And ye, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men. And I am your power, saith Yahweh power. The flock of his pasture are men. He's not dealing with women in this capacity, and especially not at this end time. So if a woman believes that she has the power that's coming from the Most High, and he's directly talking to her and giving her some ability to be some kind of a goddess or prophetess or whatever she thinks she is, or whatever relationship she thinks she has with, quote unquote, she calls God, she ain't dealing with the Most High Yahweh like that. The Most High Yahweh is dealing with his men. And through his men, he is making moves that he has already predetermined, because he's in control of absolutely everything. And if anybody believes that their resources and their ability and the things that they're doing constitutes them being in power and power to do whatever they want, then you are clearly delusional. You're not in this truth, and you're not being handled on the right-hand side by Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Point blank, period. All right, just wanted to clear that up. Now, as we get back to what I was saying, Yahushua said that the sign of Jonah is all you're going to get. Because a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh for a sign, and no sign will they get other than the sign of Jonah. Okay, and we know that that's absolutely the case, right? And since we know that, we need to make sure we focus on that capacity of this. Now, what about signs? Let's talk a little bit about a sign. Now, in Deuteronomy, it talks about a sign in Deuteronomy 28:15, and it talks about these signs and these curses and things, roughly paraphrased, are going to be on you for a sign, right? And a sign is different, but it has an attachment to prophetic interpretation in terms of what is exposed and shown. Now, I think I said this before, and I'll say it again. A sign you can see, like Yahweh Bashem Yahushua said, he gave us the moon, the stars, for signs and seasons. So you get a sign of the moon. The moon and the sun are signs, right? But they are entities the Most High created. But you can see it. You can physically see the sun. You can physically see the moon. You can physically see some stars. Now, when it comes to that portion of a sign, it's really clear that you can see that, okay? Now, a prophecy, a prophetic calling or prophetic utterance or a prophetic interpretation, you normally see it after it either happens, or if you are in the spirit and the spirit's working with you, you can normally see it progressing as it goes. But it's not as clearly visible as a physical sign in that capacity. Okay, we know that to be the case. So in saying that, we know that signs are different than some levels of prophetic information that's provided. But at the same time, they are very relevant in terms of where we're going. Now, the sign of Jonah presents a spirit of delusional deception in a way that most people don't seem to understand. Let me clarify that a little bit better. Jonah, his representation of what he was supposed to portray through Yahweh Hashem Yahushua was really clearly seen by the hand of Yahweh who controls all things. What do I mean by that? Yahweh said in the book, in the Bible, no one can resist his will. So if you can't resist his will, that means that even though you think that you're doing something and you're going to run from the Most High, like within Jonah's case, it seemed as though he was trying to run from what was needed for him to do for Yahweh, you can't run from the Most High. You can't hide from the Most High. You cannot escape what the Most High has predetermined about what and who and what you're going to do. So the Spirit was telling, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Ruach HaKodesh is telling me to say, in reference to this situation with Jonah, a perspective that is kind of clear to see, but it's a little foggy for some who don't get it if they're not studied enough to understand this portion of it. Jonah represents the fact that also, look at this side of it now. You can't go against what the Most High has predetermined you're going to do, okay? And that includes all his creation. Yahweh has already predetermined everything from the beginning to the end. He's left nothing out. So since nothing is left out, that means you can't do something that he hasn't already ordained for you to do. This is important to understand because a lot of people get things confused in reference to where power sits and how power is wielded and how it's being wielded by the wicked through the Most High. Now, that's a very important factor that most people just don't seem to get a grasp on or don't talk much about. My brothers, my Akim, they teach extremely well when it comes to breaking down how judgment and wrath is discerned to be distributed by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua on the world in reference to what is prophetically said that's going to happen. Now, that's very clear. They bring this out a lot. They do excellent breakdowns in terms of letting you know what is to befall you based on your activities and the things that you're doing that may or may not correspond with what you think is what Yahweh Hashem Yahushua wants. But don't get it twisted. Everything that is being done is completely under control of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. The Father is in control of all of this. And he uses the management of his son, Yahushua, and the angels to orchestrate and make sure all things that he set in motion are being completed and done, as he did from the beginning when he had them, when he created Yahushua, and then he had them go out and then electrochem-luminescence to create everything that exists. So since we know that that is the case, the Father's in control of everything, which means everything is in complete order to the nature of the order he set up. You can't stop someone from going off and being a bug out. You can't save anybody that he doesn't want to have saved. You can't awake anyone that he doesn't want awake. You cannot go and do anything that he has not already subscribed and authorized through whatever level that he decided to allow you to do it. You can't. And I don't care what you say, and I don't care what you try to say that you can do this or that, but you can't. We have a lot of problem at times when we do our lessons, including myself. As I always have to claim myself before I claim anyone else. That we big up Esau's activities in terms of what his wicked hand is going to do, being made as the perfect wicked weapon. Now we know that Job chapter 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. But see, don't look past the fact that who gave it to him. It says the earth is given into the hand. It doesn't say that the wicked automatically has the whole earth and automatically can do whatever it wants. It is already predetermined that the wicked is going to be able to have the earth to do the things that it is programmed to do by Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. That's what he says in Deuteronomy 32:39. I create evil, I create good. I heal, I wound, roughly paraphrase. I'm telling you, the Most High controls all sides of everything. We got to stop negating the fact that we don't do disclaimer about the Father is control of all the things that's happening. You have to say this more because, see, if you don't, what you do is you actually doing a disservice to a degree to Yahweh Hashem Yahushua by not telling people that he is in control of all the areas of everything that's happening. He set it in this motion in this way, and he did it that way because we have to get out of here. In order to get out of here, it has to go beyond what we can imagine as being really bad. As I said before, and I say it many times, it's going to get so bad the demons don't want to be here. But you got to understand that the Most High is controlling this. Yahushua and Michael and Yahushua are not going to show up here if everything's rosy and nice and comfy and pretty and beautiful and everyone's loving and caring and doing all kinds of wonderful things. They're not coming back for that. They're coming back to change the wickedness that the Most High has shown us that has to happen because of the purification and cleansing process to be in his presence eternity. And in order for us to learn this capacity and for this to be written in our inward parts, to have the proper and perfect knowledge of law and everything, we have to go through these particular portions of what prophetic transitional process has been set up already by the Most High. So you're not going to be able to get around the fact that that's what he's doing. You cannot stop the process just because you say this, that, and the third about whoever. You got bug out organizations, you got bug out individuals, you got bug out nations, you got nations that seem to be on point, you got camps and organizations that are seem to be on point, but you don't know that that's the case in general, because what you have to your understanding is only what the Most High has allowed you to get and understand. But what you need to understand about the book when it comes to Jonah, the underlying message that a lot of people miss is the fact that Jonah was going to do this because it was not of him to be able to run and get away. Now, the Most High showed you the inference of the fact that Jonah could seemingly try to get away or disappear or escape, but at the same time, he could not. So even though it looked as though he is operating under some power that he can just, run and hide or whatever, same thing for the wicked of the world that the Most High made the perfect weapon now. When Esau Edom is out here doing what he's doing, they're still under control of the Most High. And he's still doing it the way he's going to do it and the way he's already set up to do it. Okay? So you got to understand that part of it. And so the weapon in this end time is delusional deception, okay, in itself. And the Most High is going to use this delusional deception through his perfect wicked weapon, that is Syrian army, Esau Edom, in the way that he's doing it. And what are we supposed to do in order to interact with this situation? We're supposed to operate in a capacity, right, where what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to perform by picking up on the clues that the Most High presents to us in order for us to say, all right, if we pick up on this clue, we can do what the Most High wants us to do in terms of following to predetermined predestination and predetermined process that he set us forth in doing. So because we follow up on that clue and we understand that clue, now we're operating under his control and under his directives to be obedient, to follow what the nature of how he set us up to do things that we're supposed to do. And I know this is sometimes a little difficult for people to understand, because as Yahushua says, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh for a sign. So if you're seeking for a sign and you don't pick up on the clue that addresses the sign, then now you're in a situation where you're saying, well, this person's a bug out, or we're trying to save the nation of Israel, or we're trying to wake up our people. No. That's not how it works. The Most High has already determined who's waking up and who's not waking up. He's made that distinction already. He's made the distinction on who's going to come past you while you're out on the highways and byways, and their spirit's going to be touched by what's being said, what's being preached. And if he says that person's going to wake up, then they're going to wake up at that point. You may speak to someone and drop a seed for the Most High, and they may not wake up in front of you at that time. They may go home, and it may be a week or two later, and the spirit gets on them, and what you said and the way you said it reaches their spirit, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're awakened now, they're moving in the right direction. But you didn't have anything to do with that other than the fact that you're supposed to just do your job, which is to pick up on the clues, put out the information, reprove and move, stay on point with prophecy, and do your part. That's all you can do. You are not able to send anyone to hell, send anyone to heaven. You don't have a heaven to put anyone in, you don't have a hell to put anyone in. You don't determine if somebody's going to get destroyed or not. That is something that is completely under the jurisdiction of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And we don't do enough disclaiming of the fact that the Most High is in total control of all things, and he's all powerful, and nothing is going off that he don't set off. If he sets it off, then it's going to go off. Okay? And if that's the nature of what he decides to do, you can't stop it. You can't make, just like we cannot, he tells you in the word, you can't extend your life a second longer than he wants you to be here. And that's for sure. So we have to get in line with the fact that the book of Jonah is telling you, you're going to do what the Most High has predetermined you're going to do. If he's predetermined that you're going to be a 2/3, that's it. You can't do nothing about it. If he's predetermined that you're going to be a prophet, an apostle, an elder, a servant, a teacher, whatever. If he predetermined that, that's what you're going to do. Just like Jonah. Jonah thought, hey, I'm not going to Nineveh because the Ninevites are going to destroy my people, the Israelites, if I go there and they get salvation or whatever they think they're going to get. And so he thinks he's going to run from the Most High and get on a boat, and he's going to try to get away. Where can you hide from the Most High? There's no place to hide. You can't run. You're going to do what he predetermined you to do. It doesn't even matter what you want to do. You could go off, you could not go off, and if that's what's happening, he has made it such that you're going to be doing this. You are not doing this on your own. And Esau is not the boogeyman that is going to come and get you unless the Most High set his ass on you. Okay? He's a puppetized, perfect, wicked weapon that the Most High created. That's why he said he created the wicked for the day of evil. Roughly paraphrased, but you know what I'm saying. So he's programmed and he's controlled by the Most High. We cannot be bigging Esau up and confusing the hell out of Jake, and Jake's be like, man, Jake's so scared of Esau, he ain't even scared of the Most High, when the Most High is controlling Esau. You see what I'm saying? The Most High controls all things. Everything's in order in heaven, as well as here on earth, as well as everywhere else in the universes he has. He's controlling it all. He ain't slipping on no points and no parts. And we got to understand that. Now, am I saying that just because the Father's doing it this way, we can sit back and just say, well, if he's controlling everything, I ain't got to do nothing. I can just roll with the tide, or I can just flow with the wave. No, as I said, you have a predetermined mission that you agreed to in the spirit world. Told you this before. All right. How many times you come here is contingent upon how many clues you pick up and get portions of your mission done while you are here in whatever many lifetimes you are here. Now, if you pick up on the clues successfully, which he clearly will give you that opportunity to do, it's not free will. It's an illusion of free will, but it's not free will. But as you pick up on the clues, it gives you directives to move in a direction of the mission that you have to accomplish, and you interact with the souls or saints that he puts in your path for whatever purpose you have to give to them that you really don't know just yet. So you have to flow with that portion of the spirit and that understanding, okay? And as you do that, this is what opens up the opportunity of your mind that lets you know that the Most High is in control of all things, and he's in control of you, and he's directing you where you need to go. The footsteps of a righteous man are guided by Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushua. Okay? So we need to make sure we understand that, because a lot of us get real twisted in terms of what needs to happen. Now, I want to read a little bit about Jonah, because it's important to know. I'm going to go to 2 Kings chapter 14 and 25 and read about his background, but I want to give you just a little bit of the word out of the book in reference to now what Jonah, in terms of, how it goes. All right, this is the book of Jonah. And in verse 1, it says, "Now the word of Yahweh came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, as saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me." But Jonah rose up to flee into Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof and went down into it, and to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh. Now, just let me stop for a second. First of all, now Jonah, being he was trying. It seemed as though he was trying to escape, but he was not. Okay, if you read it in this way, this is what you think. Most High is in control of all this that's going on. He's giving you this inspiration and this information to let you know that he controls all side of everything. That's what the Father's trying to show you here. He's showing you that this is a lesson to tell you, you can't run from me. You can't get away from me. You can't rebel against me. But I'll show the interpretation of this so that those who are learning how to obey me have a platform to understand, to walk on, to pick up the clues that are in that area, in that realm. So we had to understand that. Now, again, as I said, now this great city Nineveh is similar. The similitude now is to where we are now in this great northern hemisphere, in this America hemisphere, and what have you. Nineveh would be like America to a great degree. Okay, and also Tarshish is a very rich area, and of course that area was a very mercantile area, very merchant-based area, and it had a area upon which it was a seaboard area where a lot of things went in and out of that location in terms of trade and everything. That's why the devil, he's always been very merchandising. He's a merchandiser, and he used Tarsus and Nineveh and these places as ports where he would trade back and forth and do a lot of business. Very much like America at this point right now in time. So it's very, very close to that same similitude. Okay, now, and he says he found a ship going to, Joppa found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid a fare thereof and went down into it to go with them into Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh. But Yahweh sent out a great wind in the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea so that the ship was like to be broken. In other words, Most High was going to sink the ship. Then the mariners were afraid and cried every man unto his God. See, now you got a bunch of idolatrous people who don't know the Most High, but they know that there's a power that's doing this. And so they're calling out to what they think is a power of theirs through their fake gods, and cast forth their wares and that were in the ship into the sea to lighten it of them. But Jonah was gone down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep. See, Jonah, he already knows what's going on. He knows he's trying to hide from Yahweh, which he thinks that he's accomplishing, but the Most High is in control of all of this that's going on. Don't get it twisted, he really is. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper? Arise, call upon thy God. If so be that God will think upon us, that we perish not. And they said every one to his fellow, Come and let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us. So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah, just like in Yahweh Shai. Remember, they cast lots for his garment and everything else when he was on the cross during that crucifixion time. See, the similitudes of Jonah and the crucifixion, the crucifixion, and as well as the resurrection of Yahweh Shai is very much in line with this, but that's not where we're going with this at this point in time. We're going to the point that even when Yahweh Shai had to go through everything that was prophesied that he must do in order to save Israel only, who was controlling the whole process? Yahweh, the Father. He was taking Yahweh Shai through this entire process. See, you get a lot of wacky tackies to try to say that Yahweh Shai was doing this on his own. No, stop it. Yahweh Shai was doing it because he says he has to do with the will of his Father. Okay, so who raised Yahweh Shai? The Father. See, so don't be letting these religious practitioners who are ignorant to the truth sway you and tell you that there's something else going on, that there's a power that's above the Almighty Yahweh, because it's not. Yahweh Shai manages his Father's power. Okay, he's been given authority to do that. If someone's given you authority to do something, they're over you. Okay, let's be clear about that. Okay. Then said they unto him, Tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil is upon us? What is thine occupation, and whence comest thou? What is thy country, and of what people art thou? And he said unto them, I am an Hebrew, and I fear Yahweh, the power of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land. See, Jonah knew what was going on. 10. Then were the men exceedingly afraid, and said unto him, Why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yahweh, because he had told them. Then they said, then said they unto him, What shall we do unto thee, and that the sea may be calmed unto us? For the sea wrought and was tempestuous. When it was going back, really big and up bad. And he said unto them, Take me up and cast me forth into the sea, so shall the sea be calmed unto you. For I know that for my sake this great tempest is upon you. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it to the land, but they could not, for the sea wrought and was tempestuous against them. Wherefore they cried unto Yahweh and said, We beseech thee, O Yahweh, we beseech thee, let us not perish for this man's life, and lay not upon us innocent blood, for thou, O Yahweh, hast done as it pleased thee. So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea, and then the sea ceased from her raging. Then the men feared Yahweh exceedingly, and offered a sacrifice unto Yahweh, and made vows. Now Yahweh had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah, and Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. See, now that's where you got your similitude of the fact that Yahushua was in the spirit world for 3 days and 3 nights, handling business for Yahweh. Okay, and And the wacky tackies talk about he went down to hell and all this old crazy stuff. And, you know, he talked to the prisoners in hell. I mean, see, you got to understand, when the wicked got a hold of our book, like when we talked about in Kings and also in Second Ezra, and what they did was when Ezra wrote 204 books, he said that distribute some to the wise and unwise, in other words, so they can look at it, but they won't get clear understanding of it. And then the last 70 will only go to the wise. Well, when they got our books, obviously you can see what they did. Most High allowed them to twist certain interpretations, but the truth is still within the interpretation. They just decided to try to twist it a little bit. You know, they would put certain words in and phrases in, change a word or a phrase, but they can't take the truth out of the book. Okay, they try to, but they can't. Most High won't let them do that part. You know, just like in about the fact that in Revelation chapter 4, verse 2, it talks about Yahweh, the Father, as being the color of a sardis stone. You know, now we all know, or those who study know, that a sardis stone is not a white stone. Okay, it's a brown stone, you know, like a darker brown stone, what have you. But when you get to that portion and talk about what color Yahweh would look like as a father as well as a son, they don't, the wacky tackies and others don't want to talk about that. They want to go, no, see, don't know, God's a spirit and he don't have no color and everything's supposed to be so freaking transparent in heaven. No, that's not true. Okay. But this is what they do. So like I said, you got to beware of that kind of stuff, because that's how they're going to trip you up, and you can't get tripped up on that stuff. Not to digress, but let me go. So you see now, 3 days and 3 nights he was in there. Now, why did Jonah get through a fish or go through a fish? Because the Most High knew that the Ninevites, what they were doing was they were worshiping a fish god, Dagon. And they knew that if someone came up out of a fish, they would interpret it as their so-called fake god sent this person to come to them to give them a message of some sort. So clearly that was something that, of course, our Father operates in covert activity, and this was beautiful in the way that he did that. Once again, okay, like I said, the sign of Jonah presents a spirit of delusional deception if you don't understand that the Most High is telling you, I can use whatever method, and I will use whatever method I want to get my message across and to get my prophecies fulfilled. And no one's going to stop the Most High. That's what he's saying. No one's going to stop me, and I'm going to get it done, and you're not going to defy me. And you can try all you want, but you're going to go where I say you're going to go. You're going to do what I say you're going to do, and you're not going to bypass what I don't want bypassed. It's as simple as that. Okay? You're not doing that. Now, as I said before, what I want to do is I want to go to 2 Kings, and I want to read a little bit about Jonah, because I think it's important to get my position in terms of standing on what I want to talk about. Okay, so what was it? No, what am I? Yeah, 2 Kings. I want 2 Kings, and like I said, I want to go to 14. Yeah, go to 14. Okay. All right. 14, right? What is it? That's Jeroboam. What was it? Oh, 2 Kings 25. What that? 14, right? Okay. All right, here it is. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into the whole chapter of 2 Kings. You need to read that for yourself and talk about Josiah, king of Judah, and Jeroboam, and the son of Josiah, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and everything was going on there. I'm not going into that part of it. That's not part of the lesson. But, okay, down to 25. All right, let's go 24, one up. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh, and he departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Israel in sin. So that I want to finish that portion up so you make sure you understand where I'm going in the chapter. Now down to 25. He restored the coast of Israel from the entering of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of Yahweh, power of Israel, which he spake by the hand of his servant Jonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which was at Gath Helper. Okay, now Gath Helper is near Nazareth in the area that later became known as Galilee, right? And see, Jonah was a northern kingdom individual. Okay, he was from the northern kingdom tribe. I thought it would be important to know that information in reference to his background. And the reason why I say that is not just because I believe I'm Northern Kingdom as well, but it's just a little different. The Northern Kingdom people I seem to see are different in many ways when I talk about the tribes. You can notice a lot of things about the various tribes, like Judah. Man, Judah's the top king tribe, but they go through the worst, man. And not only they go through the worst, but they give you the worst. Look at what's going on with Judah right now. I mean, and we got to wait for Judah. Judah has to be waking up in the prophetic line of things happening. They got to come out first. And when we look at the way Judah's going and what they're going through right now, it's a tough sale to say how soon they're going to come out, because it's just, we see some wicked stuff going on. Now, I'm not saying Northern Kingdom, they got some wicked stuff too, because they got a lot of Sancta Maria and all kinds of idol worshiping going on and a bunch of wicked stuff going on too. But man, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, woo, baby. We got to wait for our brothers to come up out of that, because we got to follow what they're doing. And Jonah, he's a Northern Kingdom brother, but at the same time, a lot of the Northern Kingdom that I'm witnessing and have experience with, they're diligent too. They're very diligent brothers. They're breaking some things down. They get into some truth. They got a different type of spirit, so to speak, in reference to the Ruach HaKodesh and how they operate. But it comes across, But Judah, man, whew, I love Judah, but I'm telling you, man, Judah be doing some stuff, man. They be doing some stuff. Anyway, not to digress, okay? I got some precepts I got to get into, because I'm not going to make this lesson too long, but I'm just trying to tell you the moral of this story in this situation has to go down to the fact that the Most High is in control of all things. I mean, everything that we're dealing with and everything that we see, he is in complete control of it. And we don't do enough disclaiming of that fact. We I feel like we're almost shortchanging the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai when we don't tell people that all of the stuff that's going down, that we got to go through, the Most High, the Father is doing this. It has to be done. And so you get a clearer way to address situations when you know that the Most High is the one that's orchestrating the process of moving everything through his prophetic timeline, and he's doing it at whatever level he decides he wants to, and all you can do is pick up these clues and go forward. That's just the way it is. But you have to disclaim this, because I said Jake's and Israel in general, overall, they scared of Esau, and we don't help a whole lot if we big up Esau big time in terms of what he's doing and what he's been programmed to do, and not be bigging up the Most High that he's the one that's pushing and puppetizing Esau to do this stuff. This is important. I mean, you got to know that that's the case. Okay, I'm going to Matthew chapter 16. So go with me. All right. We're going to pick up a couple. Matter of fact, I'm going to go to Matthew 3. Shalaki. Let's go to Matthew 3, and I'm going to 1 through 11 first, because that's important. All right. And I'm trying to set a precedent here in terms of why it's important that we understand that the Most High controls all things, and the spirit of Jonah is the last sign that the Yahushua said that you would get from out of his mouth, from that portion of his teaching, for a wicked and adulterous generation that seeketh for a sign. So let's get into it. In those days came John the Baptist preaching in the wilderness of Judea, and saying, Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Elias, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare ye the way of the Lord of Yahushua, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair and leathern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. Then went out, then went out to him Jerusalem and all Judea and all the region around about Jordan, and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and the Sadducees come to him to his baptism, he said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Okay, bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance. Now you got Pharisees and Sadducees. The Pharisees, of course, believed in the resurrection. The Sadducees did not believe in the resurrection. So you had these two different legalese individuals that were definitely into the law, but they had different belief systems based on what they believed their traditions were and how they grew up in terms of learning how and what they considered to be God and the power of God. Okay, so just to do that, not to digress. 9. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham our father. For I say unto you that Yahweh is able to, of these stones, to raise up children unto Abraham. See, this goes back to, like I said, he's in control of all things. He does whatever he wants to. And this is why it was told to them that he could make anything worship him and everything worship him, and even make what you think is an inanimate object turn into an animate object and then worship him. Okay, we're talking about power. Our Father is beyond what we can imagine. Okay, all right, and he said, okay, okay. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewed down and cast into the fire. I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Ruach HaKodesh and with fire, with the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua and with fire. Okay, that fire is a cleansing fire, and that word is the word that will get you to a purification process to be cleansed. Okay, now, so I'm trying to tell you that the Most High is showing you that you can't do anything and you can't go past anything that he has not ordained you to go past, including these Pharisees and these Sadducees. They were already in the situation where they were going to be taken down. And basically John the Baptist told them that. That's what he said to him. He said that, he said, O you generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Well, we can see who warned them. The Most High warned them. How many past lives have they had that they've been warned that what was going to happen? But what? Did they ignore it? Of course they did. Because they were programmed to do that portion as it moves forward. We have to start getting into the mindset to understand everything is under complete control of Yahweh. He's in control of everything through his son, Yahushua. All right? So don't get it twisted and think there's something's going on that's not under his control. Matthew chapter 16. Okay? And I want 4. There it goes again. Oh no, let's. I always like to go up at least a verse or two, right? All right, here we go. The Pharisees also, with verse 1, Matthew chapter 16. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came. Here we go again, tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. See, we're talking about the sign of Jonah, sign, right? And he answered and said unto them, When is it evening? When it is evening, ye say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. See, he's talking and alluding to a sign that you can physically see, right? And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the times. And Jonah is showing you a sign of the time. And the biggest sign of the times, meaning all prophecy, times all prophecy, which means the Most High is in control of absolutely everything that's going on. Let's read it again. And in the morning, this is verse 3 of 16, Matthew 16. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowing. O ye hypocrites. Okay, in other words, O ye people who you think you know what's going to happen, and you think that what you say is going to be exactly the way the Most High is going to do it. You don't know that. You have an inference, but you don't know it, because every time we think he's going to do something one way, he does it something completely different from the way we even expected. And you know this is true. Okay? Oh, ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky. You cannot a lot of times make a breakdown in the determination of what you see or what's physically able for you to surmise, right? But ye cannot discern the signs of the times. You can't break down all of the prophecies and tell exactly when it's going to happen, the actual date, moment, and second of time when it's going to. But the Most High can, because he set it up. He has done that, okay? That's what he said, okay? 4, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall be no sign given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. See, he already told you, you ain't getting no sign other than the sign of Jonah. Okay, I'm going to 12, so go with me. And now Matthew 12 and 39. See, I got to reiterate this to you so you can understand that the sign of Jonah means you cannot go against the power of the Most High. He's doing whatever he wants to do. You can't stop it. And this is, of course, again, Yahushua, red letter. All right. See, another desire for a sign, right? 38 says, then certain of the scribes and Pharisees answered, saying, Master, we would see a sign from thee. Punk asses. Okay. But he answered and said unto them, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. Now he called it whale. Now the Most High said it earlier. It was a fish. When we went to reading the book of Jonah, it talked about he fashioned a fish. But why did they put whale in here? You see what I'm saying? In the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. Now, see, if you don't know the breakdown of this in terms of how it works, when Yahushua was in the spirit world, he was accomplishing what needed to be accomplished by the Father. And he had to spend exactly 3 days and exactly 3 nights. So he had to come out on that 4th day at some point in time, because he had to spend the evening and the day before he could complete a complete day. See, a lot of people don't even realize that. But anyway, okay. The men of Nineveh, and this is 41. The men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, a greater than Jonah is here. Okay, and that's Yahushua. So we can see the similitude of this, but you still have to make sure you understand this portion of the lesson, and that is, don't lose the foundational understanding here that everything is still controlled by Yahweh. It's still completely already predetermined. Yahushua was predetermined to spend what time he had to spend here on the earth in order to fulfill the prophetic portions that were pertaining to him for the salvation of Israel only. Okay, that was already predetermined before the foundation of the world. So you got to make sure we understand that, and we have to disclaim the fact that the Most High is always in control of everything. Okay, we can't be getting beside ourselves and thinking and doing saying things that make people think that Esau got some power that he don't have, because he don't. He don't have no power other than what the Most High puppetize him to do. All right, and see, that's what's important to understand. A lot of people don't get it. Now, going to John chapter 2 and verse 18, John chapter 2 and 18, and it says, then answered the Israelites, they got Jews here. See, well, like I said, they try to write stuff in to give themselves inclusion into this so they can say, see, it says Jews. Well, no, it didn't say that in the manuscripts, but this is what they try to do in order to trip you up. They want to write something in there so you be thinking about some ish people, all right? Okay, Shalaki. 18, then answered the Israelites and said unto him, what sign showest thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things, right? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Again, that brings you back to the sequence of 3 days and 3 nights in the spirit world in order to fulfill the prophetic prophecies that's written of him so that he could give us the ability to work for the clues to get into the directives in order for salvation to be something we can possibly acquire, okay? That the Most High has predestined us for. That's important, all right? Now, we're going to go to Mark, okay? Let's go to Mark, and I'm going to Mark chapter 8, and I'm going to pull precept from 12. And he sighed deeply in his spirit and saith, why doeth this generation seek after a sign? Question. Verily I say unto you, there shall no sign be given unto this generation. Now, why did he say that? Well, because he's trying to give you the inference that he is the sign, Yahushua, and not only is he the sign, but he is the sign that's under control by Yahweh. And that's why he said, you're not going to get anything other than seeing me. You get to see Yahushua, okay? Because he's in perfect order with the Father. And that means that whatever the Father wants to do, Yahushua is going to do. Because there's no other way that it can go. Yahushua can't even disobey the Father. You get a lot of wacky tackies that try to say once Yahushua got here, who they ignorantly call Jesus, and he came and he died on the cross, which he did, and all the things he did when he rose when the Most High raised him from the dead and brought him back. And now they come back and try to say that now all of a sudden there have been laws and doctrines that have been changed by Yahushua that don't apply anymore to what the Father was doing seemingly in the Old Testament and what have you moving forward. That's so farthest from the truth, you can't even believe it. And see, when someone tries to say that, you can tell they don't know what's going on in this Bible and it doesn't pertain to them, and they have a major level of spiritual blockage on them. Yahushua did not come and change anything with the Father. He fulfilled what was written of him and what he had to do in reference to the law. He came to make sure that the curse of the law can be lifted off of those that are predetermined, pre-selected to be awake at this time and forward as the elect that will be delivered from this particular point of time when the Most High is going to delete everything else except the fact that he's going to preserve his remnant, which are the elect, and those are the ones he's coming to fulfill the end portions of prophecy through in terms of what we're experiencing. Those are the directives, and this is why you won't see any other sign but Yahushua, which points to him because he's a spirit of prophecy, and what he's going to do is what? He's going to get you in the directives and get you through the directives because the Most High predetermined and predestinated that process, okay? So, again, as it reads, 12, and he sighed deeply. Why did he sigh deeply in his spirit? Because he's like, man, they just don't get it. And how often do we see this with a lot of the individuals that we see doing the so-called work, who still call on Lord in Christ and still call on Most High Christ blessed? Yahushua sighs deeply, and so do those men in the truth who know the truth and know the sacred name, know that you can't even operate in this truth without the sacred name being first and foremost. And Yahushua sighed deeply, okay, in his spirit and saith, why doeth this generation seek after a sign? Question. You're like, I'm the sign he's trying to show you, but you can't even get his name right. You want to call him something that's a byword, a byproduct of the truth, which doesn't work. Seeketh after the sign. Verily I say unto you, he said, truly, really, I'm trying to tell you, okay? There shall no sign be given unto this generation. And he left them and entered into the ship, again departing to the other side. You know? Now, I'm not going to go into the leaven of the Pharisees, even though we're coming out of the day of unleavened bread. Well, might as well, because it's a perfect way to go into that a little bit. So that's Matthew 16, 5, 12. Okay, and he said, and he left them and entered into the ship, again, departed to the other side. And now the disciples have forgotten to take bread. Neither had they in the ship with them more than one loaf. All right, now there's a whole lot of similitude in that. Now he said, if they forgot to take bread of life, bread is also contribute to an understanding of the word. Understanding of how the spirit of the word is supposed to fortify your mind so that you can understand the deeper meaning of what the Most High is trying to bring across to you in reference to going and getting the directives from Yahushua to move through this prophecy. Okay, so he says, and the disciples have forgotten to take bread, and neither had they in the ship with them more than one loaf. So one loaf is important to have a loaf, but that means you have some semblance of truth, but you don't have enough of it, okay? Now, and he charged them saying, take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod, okay? And they reasoned among themselves saying, it is because we have no bread. See, they didn't even get it. See, he said, and Yahushua knew it, and he saith unto them, why reason ye because ye have no bread? Perceive ye not yet, neither understand? Have ye your heart yet hardened? The mind, not the heart in the chest, but the heart in the mind that's not registering what he's saying. He's trying to tell you, you don't get it, that my Father is controlling everything, and I'm the sign, and I'm trying to show you I'm the sign. And you're thinking about bread and food. I'm trying to say, I don't get it. All right. Having eyes, see ye not. Having ears, hear ye not. And do ye not remember when I break the 5 loaves among 5,000? How many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They say unto him 12. Now, when he says he breaks 5 loaves among 5,000. 5 is grace in biblical numerics, if you don't know that. Now, what does grace mean? Unmerited favor. Why is it unmerited favor? Because you don't know the deeper portion of why it is grace. Just like when Yahushua died on the cross and then conquered that portion of death and fulfilled that measure of the prophecies forward, what did it do? It takes the curse of the law and it puts it in a basket. And then that basket it's in, if you go into that basket and pick that unleavened bread or leavened bread, you're going to pick up these curses because the curses are still out there. Now, you can be delivered from the curse of the law, but the law has not been done away with. Just the curses of the law have been put in a capacity where you don't have to be subjected to getting pounded by the curses of the law, which you should understand. But the Most High is showing them through Yahushua that they don't get it. Eyes to see and they can't see, ears to hear and they can't hear it. Okay, they don't seem to get that part of it. Okay, all right, and fragments you took up, and they said 7. Okay, well, no, okay. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments he took up? 7. 7 is spiritual completeness. Okay. And he said unto them, how is it that ye do not understand? He keeps asking you, why don't you understand that my Father is controlling all things? I am that beacon that you need to focus on and mirror. You're supposed to mirror the Mashiach. How do you mirror the Mashiach? Can you tell me how you mirror Yahushua? That's a question. Good homework. Find out how you mirror the Hamashiach. I'll give you a part of the clue. Understand who sent him and what purpose he came for and whose purpose he's fulfilling. Those are some clues for you. If you can understand that he didn't come to do his own work, he came to do the work of the Father. He came to fulfill that, which means who's in control? The Most High is. Yahushua is just managing this. Okay? That's why he said, how is it that you don't understand? It gets it's not really frustrating. It's just they're just blocked. If they're blocked from it, then there's nothing you can do about that. All right, we're going to Luke chapter 11. And I'm at what? I'm going to hit. It's just so much in here, red letter, that I could go up and down with. But you need to study this portion of Luke. Chapter 11 is a good study because Yahushua is dropping some nuggets in here to show you how the Father is wielding the control of Yahushua all up and around all these devils, these Pharisaic overlords and people who think that they got stuff under control. You know, you need to study that one. That's a good one to study anyway. But anyway, we're going to go to 11 and 30. I might pop a couple up above it or beyond before. You know how I do. Okay. I like 24 a lot. I might take that on all the way down. No, I'm gonna let you study that. You study 11. You study Luke 11 and study that chapter. But I'm gonna take you right to 29 because I'm doing the sign of Jonah. Okay, so just bear with me, all right? And we'll get to 12. We're gonna get to 12, 38, 42 coming up because that's real deep into Jonah and what I was talking about. But anyway, 29, Luke 11, 29. And when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, this is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it but the sign of Jonah, the prophet. Okay? For as Jonah was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation. Okay? And that's true. The sign of Yahushua to this generation is filled with the fact that we're supposed to be mirroring the Mashiach, okay? And if you're not mirroring him in truth, in spirit, that's why Yahushua said you can't worship him unless you worship him in spirit and truth, right? Well, Yahushua is that spirit of prophecy. He is the spirit of truth. And if you're not mirroring him, then you're disobeying the Father. You're going against what the Father's directive is for Yahushua and for his people, because you're supposed to follow Yahushua to the Father. So if you're not mirroring him, if you got a byword that's associated with the Savior, with Yahushua, then you're not mirroring the Mashiach and you're not following the Father. You may perpetrate the fact that you can bring forth some innuendos of truth, but you're not following the Father because you act like you're telling truth, but then you go directly into the abomination of desolation by completely disrespecting the sovereignty and the sacredness of the Father's name, which is on Yahushua and everything else he created. That's why he said, my people are called by my name. Well, if you can't call him by his sacred name, then you're not in this truth and you're working on the left-hand side, and that's where the Father has you. That portion of the truth is the left-hand side work, which is that prophetic prophecy at the end time that we're going through. That's building those blocks of Jacob's trouble when you go into using bywords to try to create an inference to the sacredness of our Father. Let me say it again. You're building the blocks of Jacob's trouble when you go into using bywords as an inference towards speaking and teaching the righteousness of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's what you're doing. And you don't get it because you're spiritually blocked, and you're not supposed to get this portion of it. You're doing exactly what you're programmed to do, and that's where you are. And you can see it when you look at some of the, I was looking at some of the lessons and certain things that are going down. I was watching the Purple Band Leaders, and they were doing they had a sort of a debate or a conference with one of the Christian organizations or churches, right? And when I was watching it, you know, it's clear to see that they're both in the same pot, and there's just a little separation between them in the pot, but they're in the same pot together. Okay, because you got the wacky tackies that's sitting over here, and they got crosses on their neck, and they got crosses on their bracelets on their arms, and then you got the purple band leader people, and they got on their front of their chest and their shirt, they got Israel united in Christ, which is total confusion. You can't have Israel united with a abominational byword. That's blasphemy. And then they're sitting up there trying to educate these so-called religious practitioners who follow in Christianity, and they're supposed to be in the truth and being Israelites, but then they're sitting there and they're in the same pot calling each other, no, you black. No, I ain't black, you black. No, I ain't black, you black. And they sitting up there doing this. What are you talking about? Y'all sitting in the same pot. You in a pot, you in a Christ-crusted pot, sitting in this Christ-crusted pot, telling them they're wrong, when you sitting up there with the same thing on your shirt, and they sitting there with their arms folded, looking at you, and looking at what you got across your chest, and they're trying to figure out what are they doing wrong. They can't figure out what they're doing. They say, what are we doing wrong? We serve Christ just like you do. See, eyes to see, can't see, ears to hear and can't hear. I'm not laughing at them. I'm kind of just blown away by the irony of the situation that they can't even see it. And then when they're sitting up there saying the things and trying to teach these so-called Christians sitting over there, these black men who are supposed to be Christians, and they're trying to teach them, and while they're sitting over there trying to teach them, and they're bringing out some innuendos of truth, which is good. You know, they're breaking down who Esau is and where we are and who we are and what we did in Deuteronomy chapter 28, and they're doing all this. But then when it comes down to certain things like the MOTB, when they don't even touch it. They go right to the step, and then they go around it. They won't give that information out. They won't tell them about the MOTB. They won't tell them what's going to happen in prophecy. They don't tell them that, you know, you sit up there giving all this history about Hebrew Israelites. You're giving all this history about the historical value of Yahushua when he was going through everywhere that he was in the Old Kingdom, and but they never tell you that his name was Yahushua. They keep calling him Christ, and they keep saying they keep saying Jesus and stuff like that, and it's wrong. And why won't you just tell them that? Because then they're going to ask you, if the name is Yahushua, why do you got Israel United in Christ on your shirt? Anyway. See, you get me going off on a tangent, and I don't want to do that. I got to get back to my precepts, man. Okay, let's go now, Shalaki. Let's now go to 12, chapter 12. Okay, my bad. Forgive me. I just get out. Sometimes I get on a tangent. Y'all know how I do. Okay, y'all know how I do. All right. Oh, man. Shalaki Yahweh Shim Yahushua, forgive me, Father. Forgive me, Father. Where am I going now? What's that going to what? Oh, straight way. What was that? Matthew 12, was that? Let's see. I believe it was. See, it throw me off. I go get to talking to people, man. And don't need to talk about people, man. Just do the work. Practice what you preach, right, brother? Practice what you preach. That's what you're supposed to do. Practice what you preach. Now, where were we at? Okay, I wanted, what was it, Isaiah 10? I think it was. I think it was going there. Shalaki, I mean, I go off on a tangent sometimes, and when you get distracted, and then you got to be brought back into the realization of where you're supposed to be. Okay. Okay, I was in Isaiah. What was I looking for? Right. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Nope, that wasn't the one. Shalaki, bear with me, folks. I took myself off my. Was that where the remnant will return? I think it was. Yeah, but I didn't want that one. No. Okay, all right. I got thrown off my track a little bit there. I was looking. Okay, yeah, it was Isaiah. That's right. 7. That's what I wanted. My bad. 7, and it was 11. Right. Lucky. All right. Isaiah chapter 7 and 11. We'll go to 10. Moreover, the Lord Yahweh spake unto Ahaz, saying, ask thee a sign of Yahweh thy power. Ask it either in depth or in height above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord Yahweh, right? And he said, hear ye now, O house of David, all things for you to weary men, but will ye weary my power, my God also? Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Now we know that this was something that gets into a debate with the wacky-tackies all the time. They try to come up with some interpretation of some kind of virgin birth or divinity crap like that. And that's not what's going on here. Because a young woman is considered a virgin at that age and time. And this is what Mary was. It wasn't no virgin birth situation. And Joseph is the father. And the Most High is going to do things in a very natural way. He's not going to do something that's weird, because he does things that are so awesome and natural and supernatural in the way that he operates. And we need to focus and make sure we understand that, because a lot of times we get sidetracked by people who just don't know what it is they're supposed to be talking about when it comes to these things, right? All right, now from here I'm going to I want Habakkuk, right? Where was I going? In Happy, going in Happy. What was it, 2? Yeah. Where is it? Nope, that wasn't it. There's 3. that's no, that's not it either. That's the deliverance of the people. Right. Okay, I got it. Habakkuk 2. Yeah, because I wanted to pull Habakkuk 2 out before I go to Judges. And then I'm going to wrap it up with Judges and John. But it was all right in here. Okay, yeah, Habakkuk 2. This is a famous one that we always bring out. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. See, a lot of times people don't get this part of the understanding. Notice what the Most High is doing here. He said, this is what Habakkuk was doing, the prophet, right? I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me. In other words, what directives the Most High is going to give you, because he's in control of all of what's going on. And what I shall answer when I am reproved. Because anytime the Most High is giving you something, he is reproving you to move in and through his prophecy, okay? Shalaki on the throw off when I went off on the tangent a little bit on the purple people. And Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run and receive it. So when he wants you to write it and make it plain upon tables, it means you have to follow his direction, because he's in control of all things. He's not letting you go and control anything. He's telling you what to do. These are directives. Remember, getting directives and following them is being obedient. And when you're obedient, then he blesses you and he takes you up another level, as you noticed in the last lesson I did. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Meaning he's in control of all things. If you can't see with that precept right there, that the Most High is in control of absolutely everything, and Esau is not, then why are you in this truth? Why are you trying to even operate in this truth if you can't see that? For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Who appointed the time? Yahweh did. And why? Okay, as he says here, yet for appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Now, at the end time period, it is speaking. You got the brothers, you got Ya'akim out, and they're speaking now in the spirit of Yahushua, right? And not lie, right? How is it a lie? If it's not a lie, what would make it a lie? Having a false name, not using the sacred name, going off of a byword name. See, when you use bywords and names of bywords that are attached to what level of divinity you're given, what that shows the wicked is that they still control your mind. If you still black, then Esau knows he got you. He got you under control. You're using the byword name that he named you. Same thing for your power, your Lord, your Savior. If you're using the byword name that he gave you for the Savior, for our power, for our Lord, then he got your mind. The Most High let him have your mind. Because if you call in Yahushua Christ, then the Most High let Esau control you. If you call on the Father God, then you under the control of the people who push that language, that narrative. And the Most High is allowing that to happen to you. Can't you get it? Okay? And make it plain upon tables, that he may run that receive it. Now, when you run, that means you're running with the truth and the understanding in order to accomplish the directives that he's given you where you are to go and what to do. Right? And he said that, you got to understand that. And for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. Though it tarry means he's taking it at the timeline that he chose to have it go through, because it will surely come. And every time the Most High everything he says is going to happen has happened 100% down the line. Just not when we expected exactly to happen, but it did. And it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith. Now, if your soul that's lifted up in you is not upright, that means that he's already been programmed to be the wicked and do the wicked, because the wicked is built for what? The day of destruction. So that's all he's going to do is destroy. He can't do anything. He disguises his destruction through his method of deception that he uses by creating delusional aspects that you have to go through, that the Most High is putting you through. And as he puts you through these delusional aspects, you get deceived, and what happens? Your spirit's not lifted up in you. And this includes Esau and Jake's. And Jake's, that's right. Okay? Ye also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people. So in order to be able to do that, you have to create a delusional process in order to heap upon you all nations and all lands and all processes. And this is what we have to understand about the sign of Jonah, that presents a spirit of delusional deception, that the Most High, by using the wicked and by wielding that wicked through the Most High's power, this is what you see happening. And we have to recognize this and pick up on the directives in order to go in the direction that is prophetically set up for us, as opposed to what's prophetically set up for the wicked. Because there's two ways. It's a straight gate, and then there's the wide berth, where you see everybody seems to be going through the wide, but none of them going through the straight. The straight is going to be hardship. It's going to be a problem. It's going to be, you're not going to skate through the straight. You're not going to skate through the straight. You can make a song out of that, because you're not. Okay? All right, 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with trick clay. I mean, Shlaki, it is trick, but it's thick clay. Okay, Shlaki. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Okay, I want a couple more on here. And thou hast consulted shame to thy house of cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. For the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. Behold, it is not of Yahweh of hosts that the people shall labor in the very fire, and that the people shall weary themselves for very vanity. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken, also that thou mayest look on other nakedness, right? The degradation process is permeating, and it's building towards the end, because Yahweh has to make it go to that level, and that's what he decided to do, okay? All right, let me go ahead and get down a little further. thou art filled with the shame of glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. And this is what you see. We have to go all the way to that level of total destruction in order for Michael and Yahushua to show up. We're not getting no bunch of roses and chocolates and everybody coming back hugging and kissing on each other. That's not what's going to go down, all right? For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it, the molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols? Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold, silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. 20. But Yahweh is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silent before him. Meaning, you better understand he's in control of all this. What can you say? Shut your mouth and only give up the information that's necessary to show the world that the Most High is in control of all things. This is what we need to continue to reiterate, and we need to disclaim it. If you're not disclaiming that the Most High is doing all this, then who are you serving? Who are you serving? If you're not disclaiming that the Most High is doing all this, who are you serving? You better think about it, because that's what you should be saying. You should be telling the world that Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, that the Father is controlling everything that's going on through his Son. Everything. Good, bad, ugly, fat, skinny, in between. All of it. He's controlling all of it. All right? Okay, we're going to Judges chapter 6 and 17, and it reads, and he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. And that's what I say. And that's why when the Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai gives me a lesson, I have to wait until he gets the lesson in me, like when he puts his word in your inward parts. And at that time, then that title comes out and it explains what the lesson is. And he tries, and I wait and I try, but I can only do what he discerns me to do. I can't go out and just do something. I can't just wake up and say, oh, I'm just going to do a lesson on bug outs today, or I'm going to do a lesson on this today. No, I have to wait until he shows me what lesson he wants me to do. He has me observe. Yes, that's my job through Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Yes, me, the singing servant. I have to observe what's going on. The Spirit says to me, okay, watch your brothers, watch your apostles, watch your elders, watch your bishops, watch your teachers, watch all of the people that are teaching the truth. I look at some of the bug outs and surf and what they're doing, but I don't learn anything from them other than what the Most High needs me to learn about what they're doing wrong. So I can see it, and then I have to praise, worship, and pray about it, and then stay about it. And then eventually he says, okay, this is the title. You have to go in and tell him that Jonah also means I control all things, and no one's going to be able to do anything unless I control it and unless I let him do it. And this is what the Most High was telling me to teach on. He said, look, teach them, tell them they seem to be forgetting to put my name in everything, every other word, every other phrase, every other teaching that comes out of their mouth. They should be saying Yahweh is in control of it. And this is what he's telling me. That's why he keeps saying, he says they don't love him enough. His people don't love him enough because they don't bring up his name enough. The Father, they bring up Yahushai. Yes, we got to go through Yahushai to get to the Father. But what is the purpose? You're trying to get to who? The Father. He's trying to get to Yahweh. So you cannot negate the fact that he's controlling all things, including Yahweh Shai. And he's telling me to tell my brothers and tell them that are doing this work also that you have to go and give him praise and worship. Yeah, you pray to Yahweh and you pray and then your prayer goes to Yahweh Shai. But where's the worship and the praise to the Father? What do you think they're doing in heaven? You say you want to go and be in heaven. You say you want to be there. Well, guess what? What are they doing there? You got to learn to do it now so you can do it there. Well, I mean, come on. This is not complicated. It's easy work to understand this. Anyway, I gave you the precept, right? Have I found grace? And he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, you talking about Yahweh, right? Then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. Can you say this about what you teach? Can you say this precept about what you teach? Or do you need this? Depart not hence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring forth my present and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. So, which is it? Are you doing what he said? Is he talking to you? Is he talking to you? And it says 17. 16, and Yahweh said unto them, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Now we know what that means, and we know what that precept means, right? But go down to 17, and he says, and he said unto him, if thou have, Shalaki, and he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight. How many times, how often do we ever ask the Father that? Or are we asking that of the people that we like? Okay, you got the guys in the baseball hats and the long hair, and you got the dudes with the short t-shirts and the fringes, and you got the dudes with the band uniforms. Okay, are they really asking if you found grace in thy sight? How does he find grace in your sight? Do you speak to him in the sacred name? Do you validate the sacred name in the power that the Most High is wielding? That he's controlling all things, including the stuff you're doing as a bug out? Right? Or as a truth bearer? Which is it? If I now have found grace in thy sight. Who asks the Father that? Are you asking Yahweh Shai to relay that message to the Father? He can hear it, right? Then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. If you can't get into the truth and speak to the Father in spirit and truth, then you don't get a sign that he's talking to you, okay? If you calling him by a byword and you don't know the sacred name and you twisting up the doctrine and you coming with some other belief system, then he's not talking to you. It's just as simple as that. He's not. And you can't convince someone that he is. We're going to wrap this up. I think you get the message. Okay, we're going to go to I got a couple of precepts on this in John chapter 4. Yahushua answered, this is 13 of 4. Yahushua answered and said unto her, of course, we know who the her is if you've been studying, all right? Whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. 14. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. How do you acquire that? Where do you get that from, right? And then I'm going down to 21. And Yahushua said unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain, in this nation, right, nor yet in Jerusalem worship the Father. Worship the Father? This is what Yahushua said. Worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Israelites. It says Jews in there, but you know it's the Israelites. But the hour cometh now is when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. You get it? We'll wrap it up. Going down to 48. And Yahushua said, this is John chapter 4, 38. It's John chapter 4, number 48. Then said Yahushua unto him, except ye see signs and wonders, ye will not believe. And that's what we seem to have at this present time. We see signs and wonders, and then we have eyes to see and ears to hear, and we can't see and we can't hear. And our vision is blurry. And the Most High has blurred your vision. And he's not talking to a lot of people because they don't worship him in spirit and truth, and they don't worship him at all. They pray to Yahushua and Yahweh, but they don't worship and praise him. And he says that that's what he's looking for. But they just either don't agree with the text or they just don't know how to do it. It's either one or the other or a combination. I don't know. But all I'm saying is, real simple. Most High is controlling all things. He's going to have the proper disclaiming of his sovereignty, his power, his righteousness, and his honor. He's going to have his glory. And I'm telling you, this is what he's telling me. And if you want favor, if you're in his sight, you're going to have to give this to him. You're going to have to speak out and show him how much you care and how much you love him. He needs a higher love. I've done a lesson on that. This is not a joke. As we get closer to this end, and as everything is turning up and getting worse, and the demons are getting worse and worse, and they're coming from all angles, if you're not giving praise and worship, he's not going to be talking to you. And you're going to run into some very problematic issues with the directives that you're getting. Because if you're not getting any directives from the people who are teaching you and who are preaching to you, and you're just getting warnings, and you're getting judgments, and you're getting information that talks about your destruction, then yes, if that's your lot, then that's what it is. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not getting directives to know what to do, okay, think about it, and I'm going to get out of this. If Noah was given directives to do what he did with the ark, if he didn't do it, if he said, well, it's going to be complicated. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. It's too much to build, 120 years? I'll just chill for 120 and just say, yeah, Lord, I'll do it. I'll get around to it. And then don't get diligently into getting it done. And he didn't do that. Do you think he would have the capability to defy the Most High and not build the ark? Do you really think he could do that? No. He cannot defy the Most High Yahweh and say, I'm not going to build this ark, and that's crazy, I'm not doing that. No, he can't do that. He took and he understood that the directive from the Creator was to do this. Same for Joseph. Joseph was told, 7 years is coming. You need to get on planting and get enough food stored up to get through this time period. This is a directive you're given. You see, he still had to go through it. Noah had to still go through a whole lot of stuff, even though he was inside the ark. Joseph had to go through everything, even though he was inside the plague and when the famine came. But he had a directive that he stayed with and he followed it. He went ahead and did something. You can't just sit on your ass and just pray. You gotta do something too. All of the prophets, all of the apostles, everybody was given directives and they did something along with praise, worship, and prayer. All of them. Hey, they all had different martyrdom types of departure from this world. We all have to give up the ultimate sacrifice here. Even if a chariot comes and takes you to the heavenly realm, this chunk of meat ain't going unless it gets transfigured like Yahweh Shai, because you ain't getting on a chariot with this in this condition. You have to give up this sacrifice. What do they say? No one gets out of this life alive. I'm not saying you can't get salvation and get beamed up to the chariot. I'm not saying that, but you can't. This has to be changed. Man, I've seen chariots come in all sizes. Some of them could be the size of a baseball. Some of them could be the size of the earth or bigger. So it's not saying that you can't fit, but the chances are of you taking this flesh is not the case. The Most High even told you flesh and blood is not going to inherit the kingdom of heaven. Not this flesh and blood in this fallen state that it's here. You're not taking this chunk of meat with you. Nah, it ain't happening. So, being that that is the case, and you know Most High ain't playing and he's doing all things and controlling all things, you better start giving him up the credentials that he deserves. Don't look past the fact that he needs to be mentioned, that he's controlling all of this all the time in order. And if you don't do it, then expect him not to talk to you. But he will send someone else to talk to you. Hope you got the message and the lesson that Jonah is not just the fact that 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of a fish to go talk to the Ninevites, that they don't destroy the Israelites, because Nineveh was eventually destroyed anyway. Deeper message in this lesson was that the Most High Yahweh B'Ashem, Yahweh Shai, controls all things all the time in every single capacity and way that is even infinitely possible. Kolo Yahweh Vashim Yahweh Shai Vashim Rakakadas Thuada Yahweh Thuada Yahweh Vashim Yahushua Shlaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry. Baruch Yahweh, for your mercy all the time. Kol Yahweh, Vashim Yahushua.